Hey guys, MBB here. This is going to be a Pokemon deck profile for Mewtwo, Clefable, Muck from base fossil format. So base fossil's really fun format. Obviously Mewtwo he pretty much ruled the format back then. So yeah, like most decks do play at least a couple copies of Mewtwo. So yeah, this is Clefable, Mewtwo, Muck. Without further ado, I'm just going to get into the profile. So starting off, 4 copies of Mewtwo. So yeah, if you don't know, Mewtwo has 70 HP, which is like, it's pretty beefy back then. Not bad. Energy absorption, great defense against energy removal and super energy removal. Just recycling energies. And then Cyburn does 40 damage for 3 energies. So since it can accelerate energy onto itself with energy absorption, Cybern's like actually pretty good attack for it. And also just something interesting is that it can one-shot itself because it's weak to Psychic. So, Mewtwo Wars. So we got 4 copies of Mewtwo. Really good starter. Next we got 3 copies of Clefairy. So Clefairy has Metronome, which for 3 colorless energy, you choose one of the defending Pokemon's attacks, and then it just copies that attack. So it doesn't need to have the energy on it. You just metronome copy the attack. It's a little bit like Marshadow from Cosmic Eclipse, if you guys are familiar with that. But ideally we want to be attacking with Clefable. So Clefable has the same metronome attack, but it only costs 1 colorless energy. And that does actually make a big difference because of energy removal and super energy removal. So it's a lot more cost effective and well, stronger against those cards. And also Clefable's resistant to Psychic, so it's really good against Mewtwo. Then we got 2 copies of Grimer. Nasty Goo is not a horrible attack. It has a chance to paralyze on a coin flip while doing 10 damage. But obviously the reason why we play it is so that we can go into Muck. So Muck has toxic gas. Basically it just locks out all other Pokemon powers. And then like something like Garbotoxin, it doesn't need to have like a tool or anything on it. You just need to have it in play, and then it just locks out all other Pokemon powers. We got 1 copy of Mute. This is just for Psywave. For 1 Psychic Energy, it does 10 damage for each energy on the defending Pokemon. So if you're going up against a opposing Mewtwo with 3 energies on it, that's going to do 30, 60 with weakness, and then if you add in a plus power, that's 10 more damage, which can score a KO. So it's a really good counter to Mewtwo. And then we've also got 1 copy of Scyther. So it resists fighting, so it's good against like Hitmonchan and Machop and other fighting Pokemon. And then also it can do some decent damage for colorless energy. It's a pretty good generic attacker. Turn 1 Swords Dance is also like pretty good. And then it also has 0 retreat cost. And it can use double colorless energy. That's all for Pokemon. Then for trainers, we just got 3 copies of Professor Oak. Really broken draw card. If you don't know, at this time, all of these trainer cards function identically to items. So there were no supporters at this time, no stadiums, no tools. There were just trainers, which were items. So Professor Oak, discard, draw 7. Really, really good draw card. We've got the OG Computer Search. So it does the same thing as the new one. Discard 2 cards, search for 1 card, put it in your hand. Ridiculous search card. Gotta play it. And then, of course, the 3 copies of Item Finder. So this is the exact same thing as Junk Arm. Discard 2 cards to recover a trainer from your discard pile. So yeah, these trainer cards do seem like ridiculously broken, but back then, like, resource management was pretty much the name of the game, and so like discarding your hand or discarding 2 cards from your hand is like a much bigger cost in this format than it is in modern day. We got 3 copies of Energy Removal. Really, really broken. It's Crushing Hammer, except you get to bypass the coin flip. You just discard an energy on your opponent's active. and 3 copies of super energy removal. So super energy removal, you discard an energy on one of your own Pokemon, but then you get to remove 2 energies from one of your opponent's Pokemon. So this card is like really insane, especially because like pretty much all of our Pokemon use only like 1 energy attacks, or their Mewtwo, which can recycle energy. So super energy removal is like really broken. Then we got 3 copies of plus power. You basically just attach it to your active Pokemon, and then that Pokemon does 10 more damage for the turn. So obviously this pairs really well with Mew, and then it's also just a really good generic card to help with numbers against stuff like Lickitung and Arcanine come to mind. Those are Pokemon with pretty high HP. We got 2 copies of Bill, really good draw card, draw 2 cards, Spot Agreed. 2 copies of Gust of Wind, Lysander in item form, or Pokemon Catcher, the old version. You just get to gust up one of your opponent's Pokemon. Fun fact, this is the card that actually, well, made people coin the term gust, so pretty cool. This card's really good. 2 copies of Switch. Well, I mean, obviously you would like to pivot between your Pokemon without having to pay for a tree cost. Switch is just a really good generic card. 2 copies of Energy Retrieval. This actually functions differently from modern Energy Retrieval. So this Energy Retrieval, you have to discard a card from your hand to recover 2 basic energies from your discard back to your hand. So this is like actually really important in this format because you need to have defenses against energy removal and super energy removal, and Energy Retrieval is great for that. So that's why I play at 2 copies. 2 copies of Pokemon Center. So this is max potion for all of your Pokemon. So you just heal all the damage on your side of the field, and then discard all the energy from each Pokemon that you healed. So since we take like one energy attacks, Pokemon Center is really good, especially because all of our Pokemon have like pretty decent HP. Then we just got 1 copy of Mr. Fuji, rounding out the trainers. This just allows you to shuffle one of your benched Pokemon into your deck. Really nice for healing, and yeah. Then for our energy counts, I'm just playing 9 copies of Psychic. Most important, obviously, because, well, Clefable takes colorless energy, so this works for that. And then, obviously, it's used for Mewtwo. So, well, yeah, that's why I play Psychic Energy, obviously. 2 Grass, so this is because, well, Mewtwo's second attack, Cyburn, takes 2 Psychic Energy and 1 colorless energy, so you can use this Grass Energy for that. It can also be used for Scyther if you want to get Swords Dance. And then you can also attach it to Clefable to use Metronome. And then last 4 cards in the deck, 4 copies of double colorless energy. So this works for Clefable, it works for Scyther, and I mean, it does technically work for Mewtwo. So one thing you want to watch out for is if you have double colorless energy on Mewtwo, say you have a double colorless and 2 copies of Psychic Energy attached to Mewtwo, if your opponent has a Mew, then they won't need a plus power to knock it out, because Mew will be doing 40 damage, 80 after weakness. So be wary of attaching DCE to Mewtwo if your opponent has Mews left. So yeah, that's it for the deck. I'm going to be working on more base fossil decks. I'm trying to come up with a collection of them. So this is the first one that I made. So yeah, thanks for watching.